mis esperitos. Welcome back. You will be quite surprised to learn I waited for this to dry all the way, which is very unlike me. I am not a person blessed with patience. And I'm back like the next day, right away. Usually it takes me forever to do continuing videos. So, when I last spoke with you, we were testing out some colors here to try to get some matches, or, somewhat close. Let's see if I put that there. Yeah, then you can see this is just that special water I told you about. Now you can see what color I pick when I pick it. Let's try to find this color here. Yep, that's it. Just gotta make it a little darker. It's a little too light. We will get there, do not worry. With watercolors, it's very important to start from the lightest and work to the darkest colors or shades or hues. And the reason why is because, number one, with watercolors, light colors do not usually go on top of or cover dark colors because of their translucency, their transparency. I know there's a difference between translucency and transparency, but my brain's not going to figure that out right now. But number one, they don't go on top of darker colors. And the other issue is that a true watercolorist doesn't really use the color white. It doesn't really exist in watercolors. It's usually just more water. But like I said before, I'm not a true watercolorist. I would probably consider myself more of a mixed media artist than a watercolor artist. When I originally started doing art, most of the art that I did was... Sorry, I got distracted thinking. Most of the art that I did was acrylic on canvas. I would do great big paintings, portraits, still life, landscape, that sort of thing. Lots of fantasy work. I really enjoy fantasy art. Yes, Salem Kitty is out and about today, and he's going to have to go into the carrier if he tries to jump onto Mom's art today. It's not an actual carrier, it's a gigantic pet containment area, and it's big enough where he has a bed and blankets and pillows, and I didn't mean to rinse that yet, and toys and all sorts of stuff. He is not a fan. Not surprisingly, I would think. He is definitely not a fan. He likes to be out and about and share in all the art and the fun. And really, I'm just kind of, I don't know, just mixing colors together, seeing what I get, seeing what happens. I will oftentimes go through a few layers like this, where I'm just mixing and blending and changing and experimenting until I get to the point where I feel that whatever picture I have laid on top of my page starts to become one with the rest of the page. I just kind of keep going. Layer after layer. And this is more like this with that sort of bluish tint. So I believe we used either this one or this one. Let me see. I think it was that one. So we'll do a little blue. And then we'll go into this gray. Oh yes. Very nice. And we'll repeat that down here. I'm going to stand up here in just a moment and make sure that everyone can see everything that's happening. Yes, I know it doesn't blend yet. It will be okay, I pinky swear. Yes, you can see everything. Good. So yeah, yesterday I waited for things to dry. I really wanted to get back to it, but I don't like when heavy body gesso gets really, I don't know, like rubbery, cottage cheesy, and it'll just peel right off of the page. I'm not a fan of that. Nah, no. And so I had to stop myself. Ray, do you want your gesso to look like rubbery disgustingness? Then it's probably a good idea for you to stop for the day. Yeah. I was not pleased. But I stuck to it. I love this blue-gray. I really do. I would like to put some over this, even though this is kind of a brownie situation. I'm probably just going to turn it into that blue-gray color because I really enjoy it. Payne's gray is such a pretty color. And I like that you can make all different sorts of Payne's gray. You can make blue-based, green-based. I think they might have different names when they have different bases. But yeah, in case you didn't know, a little color theory thing. There are many, many different kinds of black. There's blue-based black, green-based black, red-based black. There's all different sorts. This is more of a green. But I think what we're going to do with that is we'll take this. Oh, I'll show you what colors I'm using. This one and this one, which again, I'm really not sure what they are. They're mostly in order, I think, from when I took them out of the big pan I was telling you about. But I'm really not positive. Some of them, I think the warm ones probably got a bit out of order because I skipped some, so they're not in the order that they were in the box in because some of them are missing. And then maybe we'll take a wee bit of this color and see if we can get a close match to this? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And we'll mix that in, not everywhere, but in a few places here and there. Mm. I'm a fan. This should actually go more on this side. And then, sorry, jerking ligaments. This should go back to that blue. Yes, yes, yes. And then we'll add a little bit over here just to marry them so they're not too different. Mm-hmm. Goodness. Stop picking up color. Lay down color. There we go. And then we'll go back to this gray right here, number 4. And then go back over everything so that it continues to match these original steps, or in darkness, I suppose. Match it in value, I believe. Mm-hmm. And don't worry, we will blend everything in a bit so that we don't have 3-4 different colors just plopped all over the page. Let go, thumb. There. These tins have little rings, thumb rings on the bottom so that you can hold them up. That's how I was holding that. A little bit of gray, not a lot. There we go. So all I'm doing when you see me reach over, unless I say that I'm grabbing a color, for the most part I am just wetting my brush, because watercolor loves lots of water. And yes, sometimes I use too much and I soak the page, and I kind of love that too. A little bit more gray, not too much. Sweeping motions. Again, water, gray, sweeping motions. This is going to bloom now. Yep, there we go, there's the bloom. This is a bit too bright. Water, gray, blob, rinse, a little excess off, and then blend. There we go. A little gray, blob, rinse, get off the excess water, blend. I am a fan. See how this bloomed out? That's gorgeous. I'm going to do that again. Right here. Watch that dry. It's going to look awesome. Now we can go back to... I'm not in love with this. I want to turn this dark. We'll start with that turquoisey green color because we have yellow underneath, and if we add blue directly to it, it will just turn green. So why don't we go ahead and lean into that, and then we'll go back to the more bluer shade, more blue. There we go. And then we're going to go a little bit heavy with the gray, because otherwise I think it will continue to look like there's no floor here. No bottom. The wall just cuts the floor right in half. And we'll let that dry a bit. We'll go up to this side here where there's more of that greenish wallpaper sort of paper from that Tim Holtz knockoff. So it will be okay to have the brighter yellow gold color in the cracks, but this white stuff, I want it to be that dark color. Also, it draws the eye in when corners or the outside of an image is darker than the actual center of the image. So we definitely want to lean into that. Back to the gray. Water. Sweeping motions. Gray. Water. There we go. That I am a fan of. And we'll need to let that dry if we're going to add any of this brighter color underneath the cracks of the faux wall there. I could have started with the light color, but the dark will just cover it up anyways. So we can add, I was saying before, don't add light on top of dark. You can, it's just a little bit difficult. So let me have a good example. Okay. If I put this here, oops, same colors we've been working with. Okay, I put this here, yes, because I was going to anyways. We see the cracks of the wall here, it repeats here and here. So same colors we've been working with. Well, I actually don't want that dark color there now. I made a mistake, a pretend mistake. So I'm going to add the yellows we were using before and put it on top because I don't like that anymore. Now we have a dirty green. That works here. You can have a dirty green because of shadow and because it's in the darkness. That works. But here, it doesn't obviously work as much, and it wouldn't work here as well. Here we have a little bit of the blending, but this is more brown than the blue. So brown and yellow just makes a different kind of brown. So let's bring this back to the turquoise. Also, you can fix mistakes. Mistakes upon mistakes. Everything is fixable. I think I was saying yesterday, like, worst case scenario, we just put white gesso over top and start over. It would not end the world. We are definitely starting to affect the stability of the heavy-bodied gesso. Like I said, my apartment right now is like super, super humid. Things never seem to really dry all the way. Going back to the brown color we were using. Brown is a different kind of yellow, so this will turn green because we're mixing blue with yellow, which is fine. And then we'll go back to that burnt sienna color we were playing with yesterday. I have a dirty brush and very dirty water, so the color is coming out dirty, which I'm absolutely okay with. I want this to be more of the burnt sienna because the yellow touching that blue is just kind of turning green. And then there is a red. I believe the red I want is right here. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to take this red, which is turning dark because I have dirty brush and dirty water, and I'm going to mix it with this burnt sienna, and then add that. So that is what I will be doing there. More water, which means it'll be dirty. There we go. I like a lot. This will help to get rid of some of that green because red and green neutralize each other and turn brown. And what are all these colors here? Different warm shades of brownies. Just mixing some more of that burnt sienna with red. Adding water. Getting it nice and dirty. There we go. And then here where they meet, we can add some more of this darker brown color, as well as this gray, which will help to bring them together. And I could actually pre-mix it, so I will do that. I am taking this brown, which I believe is either I think it's Van Dyke brown, or possibly raw umber, possibly, and this gray. I'm mixing those together, and you get a really dark brown in dirty water, so this works perfectly. Right there. Oh yes, yes, yes. I'm a fan of that. We're getting some pooling here in the crease of the page. I'm just going to dab it up. It'll take away some of the color, but it'll be fine. I think we taped the page before we started, but I could be totally wrong. We may have skipped that part entirely. But that's absolutely okay. If we forgot, I will try to remember to do that on our next page so you know what I'm talking about when I say we taped our page. I want to add some more of this really dark brown that we blended and add to the edges here on the top of this page, and then all around the edge of every page. And like I said before, we will blend that out so it won't look like a hard line when we finish. Some of my pages I blend out the dark edges on the border, some I don't. It just depends what my goal is. Some places I'm actually going to use a little bit of black, like here, because this is already kind of dark, so it's kind of hard to tell whether or not there's a dark border there. And it'll just blend in with everything else. It won't stick out like a sore thumb at this point. Here it does, obviously, but as I said, we'll fix that. And yes, in case you were wondering, I am primarily left-handed. Yes, this is my left hand. But I am ambidextrous. I write with my right hand, but I frequently do art. I don't know if I said that sentence correctly. Let me start over. I write with my left hand, but I frequently do art and other like average daily life things right-handed. I believe I shoot a compound bow with my right-handed compound bow. I'm not positive. But like golf, baseball, I think most of those things I do right-handed. Stick shift I can do. All that kind of stuff. Because I am one of those unfortunate few who is a primarily left-handed individual living in a right-handed world. And yes, it is very unfortunate if you are not left-handed and if you are not ambidextrous, then I don't know if you'll truly understand how difficult it is for us. Like, nothing feels right. Scissors don't feel right. Pencils don't feel right when you hold them. People are constantly telling you that you're holding things wrong. It's like, I can't help it. The world feels weird. That's actually fine. I really like how that's blending. What else would I like to have some blending in? I would definitely like for this to blend. Yes, the water is very dirty. I am gonna go. I am not leaving. I'm not gonna go. I'm gonna clean the water up and then do the blending. All I do with the water is I pour it out in a different cup. This is my gesso water. Put it out in here. Then later on I get rid of it. Then I add new water out of the bottle. Water's still a little bit dirty, but nowhere near as bad as it was. Mixing some yellow up over here so that we can fix this where it got a little too muddy and dark. And then I'm going to mix some raw sienna and yellow ochre to add to that area. Some of the colors I know their names as I use them. They didn't get too lost in the transfer of paint palettes. But raw sienna and yellow ochre in this specific case is not really that hard to pick out. Okay, we are now in the browns. These are obviously not brown, so what could they be? Well, presumably one of them is either Indian yellow or yellow ochre, and the other would be raw sienna. I believe this is burnt sienna, but actually it might not be. This might actually be Indian red or red oxide. I'm not positive. Alright, I am going to pause you all and dry this, and then we'll be right back. Hola, mis mis espíritus. It is not 100% dry. There is still some dampness here in the seam of the page here and a tiny bit here, but it is dry enough for us to continue. The only thing I want to do now is work on this and this overhang just a little bit, not too much. I like most of it. I like that it's dirty. I like that it's very messy and abstracted. I am a fan of those things. Very much so. Still using the same colors that we were before. Getting carried away, as I do. Now going back to the very dark brown, mixed with that gray color. And this time, I am going to use this brush. Oh, and by the way, if you are curious, the brushes I use are by, sorry, they are by a company called Simply Simmons, Silver Brush Limited. This one, I forget the name of what these are called. They're, oh goodness, quill. This is a quill brush, and I believe it's size 10. It does have the size on there, but it's kind of starting to wear off. There, you can almost see it right there. And then this is a red sable round, number 4 by Silver Brush. And I really like Silver Brush, and I will tell you the reason why. The reason why I like Silver Brush so much is because they have different categories for their brushes. And what that means is if they want to release watercolor brushes, they will be watercolor brushes. They will have very soft, bushy bristles that when you get wet come right to a point. That is the point of watercolor brushes, to hold lots and lots of water and lots of pigment. If they want to release acrylic paintbrushes, they will release acrylic paintbrushes. And acrylic paintbrushes are a little bit stiffer than watercolor brushes, and they don't hold as much water. And I think that is important because frequently you will get companies that go, this is a paintbrush and it's for oil and watercolor and acrylic. And it's like, wait. That's kind of not a thing. Detail brushes for acrylic, yeah, they can be like watercolor brushes. You want something that when it gets wet, it comes to a very fine point or something like that. Okay. But for the most part, that's not how paintbrushes work. Artists spent hundreds and hundreds of years developing their practices and their brushes and getting specific hair to be able to do a specific thing with their art. You can't just throw a bunch of nylon together, say it's squirrel hair, and sell it and be like, it's exactly the same. silver brush because they have different categories of brushes, and I respect that in a company. There's one last thing I think I would like to do, and that is to use this brown color right here. One very important thing to always do when you make art, I keep saying one last thing. Well, guess what? One last thing. There is genuinely one more thing I want to do, and then I will tell you something very important to always do in your art. What I'm doing now is what I promised you I would do. We are blending those edges so they don't stick out so much. Because in some places they definitely do. This I actually might darken altogether. Big dark corner. There we go. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Keep on going. Keep swimming. Just keep swimming. Don't worry, I'll go back over here again. Give me a moment. I had a lot of pigment. I'm adding a little bit of black as we go. And it had too much pigment, and I didn't want to turn that whole corner completely black. Mm-hmm. There we go. A little more of this darkness, because I'm starting to lift instead of add. Black and blue, making my own Payne's Gray. More water. Quills are amazing for being full of water. There we go. And now, this one has to be just brown with a little bit of gray and or black, but no blue, because then we'll make green. We don't want green. Nope, nope, nope. A little bit of a lighter brown. Probably even lighter than that. There we go. Mm-hmm. Now, that very important thing you should always do with your art is step back. Step back away from your art, because when you get really close, you can get hyperfixated on specific areas, and you don't realize how the entire image looks when it's all together. So you step back. When you're doing like a canvas, you should step like a few feet back, quite a ways. Book pages aren't that intense. They can be, but usually they're not quite so intense. And yeah, there's only, my back just cracked, it was excruciating. There's only one thing I think that I would adjust, and that is this. I feel like this is number one, too round, and number two, sort of juts out in the middle and it looks a little bit out of place. So I think I'd like to push it more into this angle right here. So, like that. So let's work on that. Starting with green. Yes, it will look odd, but that is okay. And remember, we're doing darker colors on top of lighter colors, so it theoretically should pan out. Although the browns can be dark, they're made from a sort of yellow, so it should be okay. And they're warm and we're putting cool on top. Same colors we were using before, the sort of turquoise green and that very deep oceanic blue color. And then on top of those, we will add the gray. My poor tummy is rumbling today. And don't worry, I won't let it stay a very harsh line. We will mix it up with a little water and soften it out. And then as we did before, we'll line the edges with a browny black color. So it doesn't look so out of place. Oh, that's looking better, I think. Sitting back at it from a bit of an angle, and I'm liking what I see. It's too green there. Neutralize that right out with some red. Come right back into these yellows. And then I'm gonna stand back here in a moment, take another look. Yes. I was testing it. Look, we got rid of this round shape, and when we did that, we created a square of yellow, and it looked odd. So I added some of this reddy color and made it come to more of a sharp point. This is just water. I'm just softening some edges here and there. And then, at the very, very end, this hopefully will soften that out a bit. Yes. Okay, quick pause, dry again, and then we'll meet back and hopefully go on to the next step this time.